Hi everyone. Today we are talking to Amber-Jade. She is an animal behaviorist from Cape Town. And we're going to be talking to you about how to find the right dog trainer or animal behaviorist. The world is very confusing out there for us pet owners, and there's a lot of noise, and we don't always know how to pick the right person. So welcome and thank you very much for giving up your time with We Love Pets SA. And yeah, let's kick off with maybe making the distinction between what is a trainer and what is a behaviorist.
Well, firstly, Antoinette, thank you for having me today. It's lovely to be here. And I think it's very important that we distinguish between the two. You know, what is a trainer and what is a behaviorist?
Mm.
With a trainer, you are going to be finding someone that is going to build those foundational life skills for your dog, your puppy, your adolescent, or your
Mm.
adult dog. And they are going to prepare your dog for the big human world that we live in. And
Mm.
skills such as your down, your stay, your recall, loose leash walking, and impulse control. You know, they're also going to teach you about body language and
Mm.
how to really connect with your dog. And again, it's not just for puppy schools or anything of that sort, which is very important, by the way.
Mm.
Please,
Mm.
everyone, go to puppy school if you've got. They're also going to help with the socializing aspect of things as well. But as I was going to say just now, sometimes there's not always a reason you have to do training. You can go for fun. You can take your oldie, your golden oldie, or your, adult dog to classes.
Mm.
Have a really good time with them. I know some, clients who have been with me for years because they just enjoy those sessions with their dog.
Mm.
Now, when we're looking at a behaviorist, on the other hand, we are going to be looking at more complex cases. So we have a deeper, more emotional underlying driver towards behavior. And we're
Mm.
going to look at some complex cases such as your aggression, your resource guarding, your separation distress, anxieties, phobias,
Mm.
things really, really have that deeper underlying emotional response happening.
Mm.
And what happens with a behavior consultation is we do a complete deep dive into your dog's life. So we look at every we do a comprehensive assessment looking at medical history. We look at behavior history, environment. We work alongside with physios and vets and veterinary behaviorists. And we really do come up with a tailored plan for your specific dog as well as your lifestyle, right?
Mm.
And I think it's important to note that it's the individual dog that's in front of us as well that we will be tailoring that plan to.
Mm.
Because unfortunately, some people put a blanket approach on everything, and
Mm.
that's not what's going to help your dog the best way possible. So
Mm.
I would say biggest distinction between the two is one is helping build those life skills and the other is really diving deep into a full-on assessment for your
Mm.
dog as well.
Mm. Mm. Okay, that's a brilliant description and distinction, and it makes it very clear where, when you start looking. So, especially in the dog training world as well, it is totally unregulated. So
Yeah.
anyone can set up, watch a YouTube video, set up shop and say, I'm a dog trainer or a behaviorist for that matter. So what would you say are some of the common red flags that pet owners should look out for when they start navigating their way into the dog training world?
Well, brilliant question, Antoinette. And yeah, as you mentioned, your Uncle Bob down the road, if he decides that he wants to set up shop, at the moment there is no legality stopping him, especially those who also haven't done any qualifications or certifications. They can go ahead and call themselves a behaviorist and trainer, which is a little bit scary and very, very difficult. Then choose someone who you can trust. So
Mm.
just some things that we want to look out for when looking for a behaviorist and trainer would be, the first one is dominance theory. Okay. With dominance theory, you are going to hear words such as alpha, pack leader, to
Mm.
dominate your dog. Certain things like your dog's not allowed on the couch, they're not allowed to go before you, walk before you, and they want to have control over you basically. And this can be very detrimental. And if you don't mind, I'd like to share a little bit of a story of where the alpha dog, came to popularity by. A
Absolutely.
little while ago, there was a researcher called David Meach, and
Mm,
he is a wildlife biologist. He did research on captive wolves. Now, it's very
mm,
important to know these wolves didn't know each other. They weren't family members. They were completely different wolves that were put together into a captive space.
yeah.
He then researched and wrote a book on what his observations were.
Mm,
And at the time, he noticed that they would fight for dominance and hierarchy status. They would fight for hierarchy of alpha and beta and omega. And then he published this into his book. Now, this is when it literally took off like a wild storm in magazines, in with trainers, behavior shows, and all of those type of things.
mm,
Over the years, while David Meach himself was then studying wild wolves, he was like, hang on, this isn't quite correct. Wolves don't live in a hierarchy, base in the wild. They don't have a structure of hierarchy with dominance and alpha. They live in a
mm,
family structure, right? They have parents that look after their young, and there's very little actual fighting going on because their
mm,
aim is survival at the end of the day.
mm,
And
mm,
he
mm,
himself went, whoa, I'd like to take this little bit of information that I've actually published regarding the alpha term and completely retract it because it's not true, right? It doesn't belong in the narrative of our domestic animals at all.
mm,
So
mm,
how that alpha term took off. And that's kind of why it's outdated today as well. So we
mm.
want to just try and avoid those types of terms because, again, our dogs are fully aware that we aren't wolves at the end of the day. Um, Something else that we want to have a look out for is aversive and punishment-based tools.
Mm,
These aren't really nice at all. So we'll have a look at our prong collars. So those are metal devices that go around a dog's
mm,
neck. They have
mm,
metal protruding prongs that when you correct and apply that pressure, it's
mm,
actually going to go directly into your dog's neck
mm,
and cause a lot of pain and discomfort and a lot of physical damage as well. I mean, there's the trachea we have here with dogs, their anatomy, blood vessels, nerve endings,
mm,
and
mm,
problems as well. Another thing that's really really just really not nice is your shock collars.
mm,
And those are devices that actually release an electrical impulse into the dog and shock them
mm,
when they are being corrected. So basically, when they're not doing something that you want them to do.
mm,
And again,
mm,
emotional and physical downfall of those it's just, terrible, in
mm,
my opinion. And
mm,
then the other thing you want to have a look at is your slip leads, your half chokes, and your choke chains. And the reason I mention all of these, Antoinette, is they all work in the same way, right? They all
mm,
work in the sense of the dog seeming to comply and doing
mm,
what you ask because they're trying to avoid the pain and discomfort of these tools. And a
mm,
lot of times, people will be like, well, it worked. It works. Well, yes, it works, but at what cost? You know what I mean?
mm, mm,
A lot of dogs will have learned helplessness and shut down as well in
mm,
regards to using these tools. So it's really, really not recommended. And in
mm,
my opinion, ethical. And we really just want to treat our dogs, with the most humane and ethical methods that we possibly can. And
mm,
there's so much science out there that is proving that we don't need these tools at all.
mm,
Just to add on a little bit, if that's okay. Some
mm,
other things I kind of want to look out for is cans filled with coins
mm,
for
mm.
sound version. I can't
Okay.
believe people are doing that. And then the dreaded squirty bottle, which I'm sure is, popularized in some households. That is
Mm,
still considered a punishment-based method. So you want to
mm,
find someone, who's going to build trust with you and your dog, who you can
mm,
trust them. And you
mm,
also want to avoid someone who's going to shame you as their guardian, because it's not always your fault, right? When it comes to behavior,
mm,
there's a number of aspects that go in. There's so many different, reasons that there could possibly be this behavior challenge happening, and blaming you not going to, get anybody anywhere. So really, having a look out for all of those types of what we call red flags, and asking the questions, asking, what type of methods do you use? Are you able to explain the methods or the reasoning behind what you're doing with my dog? Because I think that's very, very important. If they're going to slap on your dominance theory here, no, but you got to be alpha. But why? What's the reasoning? Tell me. It's all null and void anyways, but just as an example. So yeah, things that I'd really say keep an eye out for, and if you do notice any of those things, just keep searching.
Yeah. Is there, the important thing for me that comes through is that bond between you and your dog, and that trust. And I, as a pet owner and also someone who's continuously learning, how to make more informed choices for myself and for my dog. The one thing that you mentioned is about not shaming the owner. And, especially if you're looking for a behaviorist and you have a dog that's got challenges, you're already in a vulnerable space. And
exactly.
Then to have someone to kind of pile on to you as well, but why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do this? That, I immediately, you won't have trust in the trainer. And then if you're uncomfortable, how are you going then to instill that trust between you and your dog? Because you as a human are feeling out of place. And I think, our gut often tells us this is not the right space for me. And I think we need to trust our gut as well. If something doesn't feel right, then pick your dog up and get in the car and go back.
Yeah, I agree with you. And don't be scared to advocate for your dog as well. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings. As you were saying, Antoinette, that gut feeling never lies. It never lies. And sometimes we don't always know what to look out for with our dogs, with stress signals and body language. But you know your dog the day. You know your dog best that anyone actually could possibly know their dog, and you'll know when they're uncomfortable. You'll know and see, hang on now, like why are you dangling my dog from a device? So in extreme cases, sorry.
But
you know what I mean? So yes, I agree 100%. Trust your gut and always advocate for you and your dog as well.
Yeah. And then in South Africa, I know we've got COPE. So you've got a diploma in animal behavior through COPE. So what are there other institutions that we could also look out for qualifications?
Yes, have a look at your COPE. They also have a Find a Behaviourist directory that you can go to. We Love Pets also has a fantastic directory that has complied of all qualified and force-free professionals. And when you are searching for somebody, right, as you mentioned earlier, which I think is a fantastic point, you're in a very vulnerable position. You are stressed, you're confused, you don't know what's happening, and you just kind of are reaching out for whoever you possibly can. And sometimes what that means is you're going to your social platforms, right? Your Facebook, your groups, your community groups. Hi, everybody. Anybody recommend a behaviorist or a trainer? Then you're flooded with names. And then again, you're at square one. Who, where, what do I do? Okay. So what I would suggest, if you are in that situation, go through every individual name that is mentioned, look at their page, their website, the information, look at their videos, look at their informational posts. Do they mention words like dominance, pack leader? Do you notice giant pack walks of like 5 to 10 dogs with one handler? Not recommended. really do your research. And when you do contact these, trainers and behaviorists, ask for their qualifications. I'm sure
Yes,
a lot of us who have put so much time, effort, and money into it are happy to show you our certificates. Uh,
absolutely.
Ask those questions. Don't be afraid to really get to know who you're going to work with, because at the end
Mm,
of the day, your dog is in this person's hands, and we're there to build a relationship with you. We're not there, well, personally, me, I don't just go in, tell you what to do, and clear out the door. I'm there to guide you. I'm not just there to
mm,
guide your dog well.
mm,
So
mm,
yeah, really do that research. Ask your veterinary, your vets,
mm,
they have any referrals for you, rescue organizations, and the same thing, vet those referrals. Don't just go by what people are saying, because
mm,
unfortunately sometimes there are people with some form of qualification, but that might just be like a 2-day one or a 1-day one,
mm,
or a random website. So you also really want to double check, and
mm,
when contacting these people, ask them, what methods do you use? What happens if my dog gets it wrong? That is a big one.
okay.
Are
Mm,
consequences happening as well? So yeah, just research is the best of your ability when trying to find someone.
yeah. I think those are really great tips that you've just given. And also in the article that you wrote for us in the last magazine, in the August magazine, there was a very handy checklist as well.
Yes.
So I will definitely, when I post this video, I'll definitely link all of that, and then people can go and download the checklist and use it as a starting point. And obviously, as they do their homework and get more comfortable, they can add to those questions and share it with friends as well, so that we get the message out there that it's about building relationships. It's about putting our pets in a safe environment,
Yeah, send
and
them
we,
up.
those people, are supporting those people.
Yes, yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. And
Mm,
I mean, you're also all very welcome to reach out to me, or Antoinette, and we can guide you in the right direction anytime, and not
absolutely, yes.
at all.
Yeah, Amber-Jade, I'm so pleased that we had this chat, and you've just kind of cleared up quite a few things for me as well, just the way that you've explained it so beautifully. So thank you very much for your time today. And I will put all your contact details in the captions below as well, and people can reach out to you, or they can find you on our listings on the We Love Pets page. And I see you've got a new website that's in the process of
Coming.
coming up as well. Yes. So we'll look out for that one, and we will update all the details on the listing as well. But Amber-Jade, thank you so much for clearing up quite a few myths
Oh, thank
very
you,
elegantly.
Antoinette. It's
Thank
been an
you.
absolute pleasure.
Thank
And I
you
always,
very much.
I can just help one person or guide one person, then I'm doing my job.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you very much.